And you know what that sound means? That's the voice of me, Randomly Ronnie Jr., along with Kelly. Hey there, Kelly.
Hi, Ronnie.
Do you know that it is the hardest for me to do these intros because it's the only time I talk like such a Poindexter? I don't really enjoy them. Granted, when I was a young child, an adolescent, I always wanted to be a TV host. But my theory is this: unless you have a audience and a microphone and an IFB monitor, and I'm in a big city, I don't want to do like hosty stuff. So because
Right.
I resent it so much, in terms of our little podcast, as you know, it's still from the ground up, let's say. And so I hate it so much that I end up sounding more dorky than I would like. Shit.
That's all right. That's why we're difficult podcasters because you know what? Life is a struggle, and the struggle
Yeah.
is so real right here.
Okay. Well, we'll say welcome back first. And I want to hear your strong, beautiful voice over there. We're gonna say welcome back. We're gonna talk about our hiatus, but I gotta say the first thing is we are amongst a heat wave. So not only am I like, hey bitches, we're back. We're excited that we're broadcasting again. We were on hiatus. We're gonna be better than ever. And I show up first episode, shirt is already sweaty. A couple of little errors we've already had. So I'm just like, I'm ready to halfway talk shit and halfway have gratitude. Where do you stand in the whole thing?
I'm about there 50-50. It's been like a day. I'm dealing with some shit. It's just been, there's always. That's why our brand is so perfect because it never fails. Like there's always difficulties in life and difficulties here and difficulties everywhere.
What did you feel about? Oh, so what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Virgo stuff because I am a September 5th Virgo. And so we'll talk about that, and
Yes.
we're going to
So
talk
happy
about.
birthday.
Thank you. I'm gonna enjoy it all year long.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna talk about some of the fun pop culture stuff in terms of like Harry Styles, Chris Pine. That'll be fun. But I really just wanted to know is what did you think, Kelly, of our hiatus? We did take a hiatus. Did you think it was the smart move? Did anyone critique you on the outside looking in and say, hey, Kelly, if you're trying to grow your podcast, the last thing you want to do is sort of like take a break? Or by your taking a break, did you get refreshed and revitalized? And did people kind of like see that also?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good decision that we did that, especially to kind of reflect and regroup and figure out kind of what we are going to do moving forward with this podcast and with our branding. So I am glad that we did it. I personally needed it. And I think that with the conversations and stuff that we had, it's just going to make the show that much more fun. So hopefully listeners, viewers, all that will agree, but we'll see.
She's far too kind. No, we were correct. We were the smartest because everybody else, what you're trying to do is you're trying to go at the speed of like you see these celebrities having podcasts, right? But they got like 16 people on their team. And by the way, they go in and phone it in. They don't even have to have a complete sentence. Somebody will edit it together. But you people, and we only know that because Kelly's worked as a publicist. I've worked in radio and podcasts and stuff. But so, and this is a ground up podcast. We're not going to knock that. We love doing what we're doing. And that way, when the big money comes in, Kelly and I will have full control over it. But the point is, you all that try to go 1,000 miles a minute, you don't believe in burnout. You don't act like that's going to happen. And baby, it will happen. And so I thought Kelly and I were kind of the poster children of like, no, we are strong enough in our brand. Although this first beginning of the episode is not going too well. But we're strong enough in our brand that we could take a break and we could come back and hit you hard. And what we're gonna come back with, Kelly? I mean, it's pretty good, right? Don't you feel a new vibe?
Yeah, I'm loving the new vibe.
Well, look at how we started. If you're missing, if you're audibly listening only, it's a picture of Kelly. These are the kind of moments we had when we were brand new. And I gotta tell you, now we're 35, like we're like at least 35 episodes in. That is no easy task,
No, it isn't, especially doing it all ourselves and amidst all the other things that we're doing in life. So I definitely cherish all the hard work that you do
Hey.
and that we have been doing together. And it's great. It's fun. And, you know, I'm ready for this new chapter. I'm ready for this new stuff. It's been a nice break. And, you know, I have to say, like, I was having a pretty shitty day, and I love being able to do this because it just kind of turns my mood around, which is really nice.
It's
today,
true.
I definitely needed it.
I had a moment in hiatus, but in the summer where I had to call Kelly about a thing, and you know, she had to talk me down off the ledge, so to speak. And we just have these moments where we're like, what we do on the podcast is one thing, but what we do just being like getting ready for it and the excitement is a whole nother thing. So baby, we are back. All the confidence, I feel like I have it. I just wanted to let you know, if you love what we did before, the origins of the show were two people who knew each other since 2003, went our own ways in terms of career, but we both love this TV show called Difficult People on Hulu. So we're not there anymore because we did all 28 episodes of the series. It was a 3-season series. But if you want to go to difficultpodcasters.com, we have nicely laid out a YouTube playlist so you can see every episode. So you could, if you've never ever watched the show at all, you can watch it and then you can go to our YouTube after every episode. And we get better every episode. I could tell you that. But we're pretty good. Now, Kelly, tell me what the heck this is. I never thought us difficult podcasters would be doing this, but we are now on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. What is going on?
It's so fun. So I do not have my own personal TikTok because it's just like, it's too much. But I'm gonna mainly leave the Difficult Podcasters TikTok, and I just want it to show a sillier side to us, to, you know, get in with some of the silly trends and just kind of showcase our personalities in more of a personal way where we're not having to be structured in a conversation or anything. And you just kind of get to see a little bit of who we are and the things that we like and kind of where our personalities, you know, might differ and also shine, and what makes us friends and what makes us us, you know, in a silly, fun way.
I don't call it bullshit, but I will say this is what's unfair about this. Kelly, if we're watching versus our Audible, Apple, and Spotify, Kelly's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She could wiggle and do anything, and the TikTokers love her. You know, the YouTube, what is it called? Shorts, they love her. Then me. I try to do the exact same video as Kelly, and they do not eat it up the same way. So I'm not saying I'm insecure, but I have noticed this YouTube and TikTok algorithm bullshit. And Kelly gets all the love, and they're like, "Oh, you again?" Like, I'm like, "Well, we are a team." They're like, "Yeah, keep that team for the show." Anyways, I love it because Kelly made me come out of my comfort zone a little bit. I think that was what made it good. So that's a change.
It does it for me too. And something that's interesting is, as a publicist and doing other things that I've done in my, even though I had a radio show early on in my career, I still never really was one to be in the spotlight, although all of my after shows and YouTube will totally like negate what I'm saying right now. But it was never really comfortable. I like to do this because I like to talk about interesting stuff, and I like to talk about it with people that are like-minded. So I don't really like see it the same way. When I had a radio show, it was really uncomfortable and I felt so silly, and I never really took it and ran with it the way that most people would, the way that I probably should have and could have and whatever, because it really just wasn't for me. But this is so much fun, and this is so different, and I'm excited to kind of dig into it and really just do things our way. And, you know, hopefully you like what I like and want to hear about what we want to talk about. And, you know, if not, sorry.
Yeah, it's fun. And it is, the thing is, like, we made a choice, like, what do we do after we record 28 episodes of after shows for Hulu's Difficult People? Do we stick with the after show format, or do we kind of realize we too are difficult people? We too have all of these stories, and we too have that like fun-loving yet grumpy energy at times, and the duality of it all. And as we kept talking, this is where we were going to go. So Kelly was like, well, why don't we just keep adding these different elements? So these are new elements to make the show feel a little bit different. I hope you feel it's different. I don't know. Maybe you didn't like it before, and maybe you don't like it now, but we have fun. So let's get it going.
Hopefully you will. And I apologize in advance for being kind of all over the place, but I have a lot of varying interests within this realm of entertainment and just people. I love people, and I'm very curious about people and mannerisms and relationships and how they interact with each other. So you'll see a lot of that coming from me, which I know, Ronnie can bounce off of and hopefully make it more interesting than
I am known
maybe
to
it would be.
I am known to bounce, baby. Yes. Oh gosh, and this one, Kelly loves the freaking Halloween. And I thought when she first told me that, so we'll do another Halloween special. We did one last year. Look at our show's growing. I thought she meant like slutty costume, and I don't even mean for a woman. I mean like for me, like I want to wear a slutty Halloween costume. The gays do it. My point is, I thought that's what she was referring to, but no, she loves all this Halloween gore and superstition and making me watch Annabelle last year, or whatever her name was. I hate that doll.
Oh my gosh, the ventriloquist doll movie, Dead Silence. That was like my favorite. Did you ever actually get around to watching it?
Whatever. You'll find that the theme of this show is when Kelly says jump, I say how high. So if she told me to watch it last year and I had nightmares for a good month and a half, it probably happened. I don't know, but let's get ready for the next Halloween because it is coming up. Let's get ready for a Virgo celebration because my birthday, September 5th. Yes. I just want to talk Virgo stuff a little bit. But before we do that, Kelly, dipping into the pop culture space real quick. And I know you have stories about all the Chris's. Maybe we'll have a Chris Evans story at one point. But let's really talk about what is going on with Chris Pine, Harry Styles.
Let me just say,
I don't know what's going on.
If anybody was on our TikTok today, Chris Pine is such a mood from this "Don't Worry, Darling" press conference and viewing at the Venice Film Festival. So the film premiered. The film premiered on Monday. At the Venice Film Festival, and just since the film's inception, there's been so much drama surrounding it, from casting stuff to Olivia Wilde's personal stuff, and now there's apparently supposedly a feud between her and the lead actress. And while they were on the red carpet, they kept their distance from each other. You didn't see them interact. There were no photos of them together. But the biggest thing to hit the internet right now is this video of Harry Styles going to sit down next to Chris Pine, and everybody thought he spat on him, which to me is like so silly. I can't imagine like Chris Pine just sitting there laughing about it and not having any kind of like wipe my face reaction or like what the fuck reaction or like anything. So that seemed a little silly. But as a publicist, having to make a statement on something that ridiculous is like the least favorite part of my job when I was doing it. So Chris Pine's publicist came out and was like, "This is stupid. Nobody spit on that. Nobody spit on Chris. Like, they're friends. It's fine. Anything else, they have a high respect for each other," whatever the statement like actually was. But it's just so silly. But now the funniest part of it is there's so many videos and memes that are like, here's Harry Styles throwing a goat on Chris Pine and like all of this like silly stuff. But I feel like it's taken away from what this movie is.
Yeah.
And the premise of it, and the fact that Olivia Wilde is a fantastic director, and it's just kind of gotten so muddied. Like, I hope it really doesn't deter people from actually going to see it, because I mean, it did get pretty good reviews and it had a standing ovation at the end of it. And Florence, the lead actress, is apparently amazing in it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. The concept is really cool, but just to have that much drama surrounding it from the get-go, especially being at the helm of a woman director, like, I hope it just doesn't
overshadow,
kind of like foreshadow that, or kind of like get in the way of it.
It is disappointing because I think, like, when you were a publicist, I mean, I feel like it's changing year by year. I think I was telling you this recently when I looked at my radio career, and like when it did not go, I was like, oh, what are the careers to go into next? I know a lot of people want to move into real estate. I did say at one time, oh, I would like to maybe get into publicity, but it feels like the olden days of it felt very curated, like a cachet of where you wanted your talent to be ushered into this type of world. And then as it changed, like all of a sudden it felt like it was just spamming. And that is no disrespect to the publicist, but like the way the goal was to have an asinine story like this go on go viral. And now to clear it up is like the publicist's job. Like, nowhere in publicity school was this supposed to be the job? The job was supposed to be, we're going to get our talent out there and we're going to maximize the exposure. But now exposure is just dumb stuff. So on one hand, I could see what you're saying, that it is just humorous and funny, because it like makes for really good memes, I guess. But on the other, yeah, if you've got Olivia Wilde not getting her due in terms of her work and even the story of this, I don't know. Memes don't make me laugh like everyone else, I don't think. I don't know if that makes me sound uptight, but they're just not that effing funny. I've never watched a cat video in my life that I enjoyed. I've never done a boomerang. I might have done one because somebody needed me to do one, but like my own, like, let's do a boomerang. Never fun for me. Am I bringing down the energy, Kelly?
No, I mean, the thing about it is the media realm and the scope of media and just the industry within itself has changed so much. I mean, I was a publicist for 15 years. So just in the space in general, it's evolved and changed so much that traditional publicity just doesn't exist anymore. Like everything is so
even if you're at the highest of levels.
I mean, not really, because yeah, you still have, but the publications are very limited now. I mean, it used to be that the goal was, getting a Wall Street Journal spread or something in the New York Times, or, if you're in, fashion or high level entertainment, it was, the fashion magazines and,
and now the fashion
world and
the fashion magazines now aren't being filled with like people who do fashion. They're like with the TikTok star. Like it's all been so messy.
Very different. It's very different, and it's also very ad driven and ad based. And there's
is that why you left?
Things and sort of. I just kind of got bored, and I've never personally done straight traditional PR anyway. I always found other creative ways to do things. So, creating like virtual reality stuff or different stories and ways of storytelling. That was always my favorite part of it. Because the greatest thing about publicity would be it's not ads, so you're not paying for it. You're basically creating a story and telling and trying to convince a writer that your client or the subject of your story is cool because you say so. So it's it's creative writing, and that's what I loved so much about it. But now it's just so different because it's more based on popularity and what's kind of going on in the sphere, the space, and it's not a bad thing. It's just different. And it's just done in such a different way now.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe Chris Pine does have a feud with Harry. Maybe the actress hates Olivia. Maybe the person who initially got this to be a Twitter viral moment, like there was no way he spit on him. The reason you could tell that from the video I saw, the only reason it wasn't true was because if you were to have like done that, your reaction, the way Harry looked at him, would not have been like that. Granted, Chris Pine does look like this weird, like something happened to him moment, which that's unexplainable, or maybe he just doesn't.
Somebody actually did explain it. So there was a tweet somewhere that I wish I would have pulled, but I lost it. That someone
look at your big 80s hair.
Oh yeah, it's very humid in Texas today.
Pour some sugar on me. Let's go.
So it keeps. It's like super. I always have bad hair days. Sorry guys. It's like always frizzy, and it's being ridiculous right now. And I'm looking at it. It's making me nervous. Anyway, but there was a tweet where someone was there and said, "Here's yeah, exactly." Said, "Here's what happened." That you could tell Chris has been kind of like zoning out in so many of the interviews because nobody was really paying attention to him because the hot topics were the feuds all going around. So everybody was worried about.
And that would piss an actor off. Yeah.
The Florence stuff and the Harry Styles. So nobody was really kind of asking him too many questions. So he kept kind of zoning out. So in this particular instance where the spit video is, someone had pointed out and she said, it looks like he forgot where he put his sunglasses. And then he looked down and realized they're in his lap and started laughing. And then he picked them up. And if you rewatch the video with that in your head, that totally tracks. It makes sense. That could have happened.
Yeah.
When you're kind of looking around like, where's my phone? And it's like in your hand kind of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Kind of like that.
I don't know about
who knows? Maybe he did get spit on and didn't care. And it's just like, fuck you.
No, there's no, the way Harry looked at him like, hello, hey, like, hey, buddy, like, you're, hey, dude, even if they aren't cool or whatever the case, like, you would have not, your reaction would have been different had you thrown a quick spit, sat down, and you turned. You wouldn't be like more like, hey, you would, you know what I mean? That wouldn't exist.
It would have been like, there's water coming at you. So kind of There would have been some sort of, I don't know.
That and when's the last time we were supposed to trust Twitter? You know what I mean? Like, it's these, who are these mongrels? Who are these mongrels that make things out of nothing? You know who's getting it really bad? You know who's getting it really bad is the real. I am not in that crowd. Thank you very much. As I said, I'm in a higher cachet. I want to be on the cover of Vogue, not on, you know. Oh God. Okay. Well, I don't know who the mongrels are. I guess it makes it fun to a degree. Kelly seems to find it when it comes to TikTok, and then she does a fun TikTok, which, as I stated earlier, we now have one. So if you do want to go look at it,
I just love all of the memes with all of his different facial expressions, because it's just a total mood of, what am I doing? Get me the F out of here. And I feel that, and I love that about him, because to me, honestly, like, I feel like Chris Pine, he just kind of exudes like a movie star quality about him.
Yeah.
I've seen him out in public. In real life, he has like this energy where he's just, you know, he kind of has that little swagger about him, and he's sitting here with all this, listening to all these bullshit questions that have nothing to do with the work that has just been done, and, you know, all of that they put into this film, and he's just over it. He's just like, I mean, he has a flip phone. He doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff.
My question to the room, and I'll answer first, it's like, is the actor in that level, not level like because he's a big star, but is the actor who cares about the craft only, are they allowed to be mad that these dumbass fake reporters, because that's what it is, like, you know, a fake reporter will now get a better shot to get an interview than maybe me, who's been in radio for 20 years, because of the way social media plays. So is it okay for the actor to be like a little upset that, like, you're kind of effing wasting my time, or does that make the actor look a little bit bougie?
It makes him, I think people will take it as he thinks he's, you know, he's either not engaged. I mean, he's not engaged, or he's over it, or whatever. But if I spent months and months and months on something and was really proud of the work that was done, and all anybody can talk about is some bullshit, it would be frustrating. Yeah. So, and just the kind of person that I am, I know you would see that frustration straight on my face. And like, it's very hard to hide that. So honestly, I think he was doing a pretty good job, and you can tell how professional he is to kind of sit there stoic, because just even with some of the answers that Harry Styles was given on this, I would have been like, are you kidding me right now? And I love Harry. Harry used to come to our office and like hang out. He was friends with my boss. Like, I love him.
Oh, good.
But it's just like, he needs a little bit more media training, I think. And just like being, you know, dating Olivia Styles isn't going to give you that. I think he needs to take it a little bit more serious to have a little bit.
Are they married already? Olivia Styles?
They're dating. They're not married.
No, you called her Olivia Styles.
Oh, I called her Olivia Styles. I did. I'm sorry, Olivia Wilde.
Exclusive. See, another podcaster would take that and run with it, right? Kelly said.
No, sorry. That's
an alleged source said.
That was just a Freudian slip. Maybe they are going to get married sometime.
Maybe they are. But I totally.
Know. They're adorable. Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, but that should not have anything to do with anything. But, you know, we always we as, you know, the public always have to make something out of nothing, because that's what makes it fun.
And I don't think it needs to be polarizing. This is where I come in, because I'm perfect in every way. It doesn't need to be. Yes, let's go Virgos. It's our time, baby. I don't think it needs to be completely on this side or completely on that side. And what I mean by that is complete dumbass. Not that you do good TikToks, of course, because Kelly is brilliant, but the dumb ones, you know, the stupid ones. But then I don't also think it needs to be, what was it, James Limpton, inside the actor's studio, which I also thought was very, very good. Like, why can't somebody have the duality to give a good interview, make Chris Pine laugh like crazy? Why does it got to be resorted into like, hey, Chris Pine, we're going to play Heads Up, 7-Up. It's kind of like, you know, referring to the show that we always watch, Hulu's Difficult People, where Julie had said in the show, you know, Johnny Carson would be rolling in his grave seeing what Jimmy Fallon is playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey on the Tonight Show. I am not the actor, but I would probably be like Chris Pine. I'd be like, kiss my ass. I went here. I did all this work to create a great film. I don't need you to grovel over it. But at the same time, now I got to just like sit here and talk about.
But that's the thing. Nobody was really even asking him any questions.
That alone is a problem. That alone is a little bit of a problem.
Right.
And I know the way the media landscape does it, because they got to get the.
Yeah, he's also not the lead in it. But I mean, still, it's a great cast. There are so many great actors and actresses in this movie. To you know, kind of like dwindle it down to just this kind of, you know, tabloid fodder. It's just unfortunate for the art. And I'm such a huge film fan. Like, I went to film school. I love everything about movies and making movies and all of that. Like, it just kind of like hurts my heart about it that it just kind of gets diminished down to that shit.
Well, it hurts my heart.
You know, I just don't like it.
It hurts my heart because it's not like whatever the press event it was. This was at a film festival. You expect a little more grown up, you know, energy in terms of who's doing the interviews.
Because the media coming in there, like the grown up type media, just is very few and far between these days. Now it's, you know, the blogs and the sites and everybody that just wants that clickbait and those sound bites, and that's what they're looking for, and that's what they're hoping to get, because that's the goal, and that's the part that makes me sad.
Makes me sick. Yeah,
it should be weeded out for this particular event. Like, I get it. That's what our society is. That's what's making money. That's what's doing, and you kind of need that also to get, you know, the average person who might not be as invested in film to go see your movie and to be interested with all these different things. I understand the need for all of these different things, but why can't we section them out? Like, you know, you're going to have like a specific, this is the film premiere, this is about the film. Let's keep the questions about it versus, you know, the other shit.
Like, if it's the MTV Movie Awards, have at it, but, you know, like, have respect for the space. And that's the thing. It just is like, by me going against it, I don't want anyone to think like I actually don't get it. Like, because sometimes I say stuff and they're like, well, Ronnie, you don't understand. If you get a viral video, that will help your whole, you know, your whole platform. Bitch, I know the shit. I'm talking about how stupid that is, because back in the day, we've also had that. It's just at a more maximized level. Like, we've never had this in our coming up era. We had people saying, we'd have people getting the big, salacious bit of information, but that was after you sat down with the talent, talked about the film, talked about the actor's process, and still made it fun. Still, don't think I'm saying it's boring. And then you, by being a great interviewer, you kind of scooped in on some, like, well, you didn't say, well, who are you having sex with? But you found a way. And that was what made you really good at the craft. But now they're going straight forward and they're taking this viral moment and they're like saying, F the reason I'm even sitting here. And that just makes the people who respect, like you say, film, it makes them, it just ruins, if I was an actor, would I want to do press anymore? Not really.
Yeah, and that's why so many don't. That's why so many really don't want to do it. And I totally get it.
I'm just saying, I understand the 1-2 punch of why people are so obsessed with viral moments. I'm just saying, let's have a little bit of passion within the industry that you're actually reporting on or feeding off of. You're feeding from it.
Figure out a way to balance it out. And if you're a good journalist, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, really, that's it.
Kelly knows.
That's all you got to do. But
anything
you're right.
else?
If everybody kind of paid more attention, and that's the problem, right? Which is what I just did to you. We're talking over each other. So sorry about that. But that's kind of...
I've done it many a times.
But that's kind of what we're doing, is we're not taking a minute to slow down, look at what we're doing, do the work. Doing the work is kind of getting overstepped by just trying to be fast. And I think that's a little unfortunate, but I get it. I mean,
and I don't want to go on a tangent because we do have other stuff to talk about, but it's the difference between making a song that's going to really do well today, whatever era we're in, or making a classic. So that's just all we're talking about. We're talking about, if you want to be a viral, you know, I'm going to ask the silly question and it's going to go viral. I mean, is that staying power? And what are you really bringing to the table? But let's not judge them. It was a memeable moment. Chris Pine, he's got stuff to say now.
I mean, I love everything everybody's doing with his like stoic face. It's total mood.
And he comes from an actor family too. I believe his father was an actor. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
So interesting. We're going to move into our show with a lot more interviews and stuff like that. I do want to show that in our past episodes, we had Julie Klausner, who was the creator of Hulu's Difficult People, on as an interview, and also Shakina Nifak. I believe I said that correctly. Who played Lola on the show. So we're going to have more interviews. And you know what, Kelly? Because we're so amazing, we might just have Chris Pine on our show, because he'll be like, I like the way they roll. I like the way they roll. And then if he does come on, we could do a viral moment with him and we could be like, gotcha.
Maybe I'll throw a goat at him.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this Virgo season.
Is it time? Is it
It's
time?
time.
Okay, Virgo birthdays. Kelly, can we talk about it?
We can talk about it. This is all about you, baby.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Well, you know that Virgos are from August 23rd to September 22nd, and by no means am I saying that the basis of celebrity makes you like any better than anyone else. If there was a list of Virgo heart surgeons, I would talk about that. I'm just simply saying it is fascinating to me being a Virgo and knowing how great I am to to realize that there's so many wonderful Virgos. So September 5th is when the magic happens in terms of me. That is when I have the birthday. We'll do a Virgo chart in a second. My actual September 5th Virgo chart. But I wanted to talk about the people who of celebrity stature, musicians and talent of that sort, actors, whatnot, were all born on September 5th. And then we're just going to talk about all of the great Virgos. Kelly's going to read some of the list. I'm going to read some of the list. And you are going to see that whatever it is in the water, the Virgos are really like the Beyonce of astrology. It's kind of crazy. And I think of it like this. And most Virgos, if you were born 9 months later, you got to think when your mother was having that good sex, like how, was it in December? I think
that's what you want to think about.
But this is what, so it's because your mother was in the best time to be, to get it. And then she became pregnant. And then 9 months, she gave the best child possible. You know what I mean? It's just something. I don't know. Too much.
I'll fight you a little bit for that title because Sagittarius is pretty on point. But you know what? I'll let you have your moment.
We did do a Sagittarius special, not about your birthday last year. So this is the first one we're doing on the Virgos. So let me start this off. So for the Virgos on September 5th, and again, happy birthday to me. The list goes as following. Let me pull up a photo to correspond. If you're on Apple and Spotify, you don't get to see this. Go to YouTube. To go to YouTube, go to difficultpodcasters.com. But let's take a list. Let's take a look at the list of the September 5th birthdays. So we've got Michael Keaton, September 5th, 71 years old, Batman, Birdman, Beetlejuice, and I mean a million different things. Yeah, and I didn't know he was one. Bob Newhart, September 5th, 93, the Bob Newhart show, and his particular brand of rougher comedy, of the time. Rose McGowan, September 5th. She is now 49 years old. She is an actress. Obviously, she's had a lot to speak upon lately, so she's kind of moving more into that world. She was famously with Marilyn Manson. Kat Graham, September 5th. Now, do you know how old she is, Kelly?
I do not. I think there's like conflicting reports.
Yeah, and that's why I'm doing these ages, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. People like in showbiz have to lie about their age. So she's either 33 or 36. So kudos to Kat.
Let's say early to mid 30s.
Yeah. I guess you're not really supposed to talk about people's birthdays, but here I am doing it anyway. Giovanni Pernici, I believe. He's a dancer on Strictly Come Dancing. The reason we had to put him here for September 5th is because it's a shirtless photo. So why was I just not going to add a shirtless photo? I mean, there's just ways to do things, Kelly. And then we have William Devane. An actor for so many years. He's 83 years old. A September 5th birthday. You remember him from like Knots Landing, but just everything else too. I can't put my fingers on all the wonderful things, but it's William Devane.
Yeah. Definitely a huge name in the the 80s and early 90s for sure.
Yeah. So he is 83 years old. Johnny Sibley, September 5th, 35 years old, recently in Pose, Hacks, Queer as Folk, making a huge name for himself. I love some of the digital stuff he used to do too. And just in the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years, he's had all of these shows. Pose, Hacks, and Queer as Folk are all three that I enjoy. So good on him, and he's going to be is a rising star already. The queen of all queens, Raquel Welch, September 5th. She's 40 years my senior, so if I'm 42, she's 82. Fantastic Voyage, 1 million years BC. And the great icon of all icons, Freddie Mercury of Queen, is also deceased, of course, but he was a September 5th birthday. So long live the queen of all queens.
You are in some great company, my friend.
See, I say that Raquel Welch is the queen of all queens, but yeah, Freddie Mercury as your birthday twin. Get
Love.
out of here. And Raquel Welch, who aged like fine wine, like
I
incredible.
mean, I
Kelly,
know.
so we know that the birthdays go from August, I think it's 22nd to September 23rd, which are the Virgos. Can you start listing some other Virgos that just, I mean, they do it all.
There's some great Virgos on this list. I mean, we've got Zendaya, who is September 1st. Prince Harry is September 14th. Beyonce, Faye herself, is September 4th. One of my personal favorites, Keanu Reeves, is September 4th. Whitney Cummings, September 4th. Salma Hayek, the beautiful Salma Hayek, is September 2nd. Blake Lively is August 25th. Sydney Sweeney is September 12th. Keke Palmer is August 26th, which is also my cousin's birthday, August 26th.
All right now.
Chris Tucker is August 31st. Michael Jackson was August 29th. Nick Jonas, September 16th. Ava DuVernay is August 24th. The lovely Chris Pine that we have been talking about all day is August 26th. So he is also a birthday twin with Kiki and my cousin Janina.
He's a very stoic Virgo of the Virgos.
A very stoic Virgo. I love it. So he's totally judging at that thing, knowing he's a Virgo. So he's sitting up there judging everyone, which I love. Another hottie McHottie, Tom Hardy is September 15th.
Oh, yeah,
Gotta
that's
love,
a good one.
Venom, Tom Hardy, that's a good one. Alexander Skarsgård, another one, August 25th. Gloria Estefan, September 1st. Melissa McCarthy, August 26th. John Mulaney, August 26th. Hugh Grant is September 9th. Cameron Diaz is August 30th. Sara Ramirez is August 31st. Blair Underwood is August 25th. So those are some great ones too.
All right. You said just about a handful. You would think that's a good amount of people, right?
That's
but
that's a great amount of people.
There's more. This is proving my point.
It's like never ending.
Virgos are literally the best sign. And yes, I don't know why, we just are. But joining the Virgo hive, Idris Elba, Ludacris, Padma Lakshmi, who I met once before at a work thing, and I loved her energy. And when I say I loved her energy, she wasn't one of these people who just said like then all the nice stuff. Like she came back and was very respectful, but like when she needed stuff done for the job that I was doing, it was in customer service type stuff, like hotel concierge stuff. So wonderful. Like I was like, oh, she's direct, but she's also sweet. And I love that duality. You know, I don't need you to smile at me and then be, different behind the scenes. So I really liked her. Anyways, keeping going. Giselle Bryant from The Real Housewives. Pink is also on September the 8th. Billy Porter on the 21st. Bernie Sanders on the 8th. Actress Michelle Williams is on the 9th of September. We've got the ballerina extraordinaire Misty Copeland. She's on September the 10th. Actor Colin Firth, September the 10th. These are good ones. Leslie Jones, the comedian from SNL. She's September 7th. Taraji P. Henson, September 11th. Jennifer Hudson, September 12th. We're not sure Jennifer Hudson's talk show will do well, but she's an EGOT, and that's what counts. Jean Smart, who's fabulous anyways, but I mean, of course, I was like loving her on Hacks, September 13th. Shameless's Emmy Russum. She's September the 12th. A guy who's had a wonderful story and a wonderful career and has done so much to give back even. Tyler Perry is September 13th. Amy Poehler was the executive producer on the show that we had recapped, which was Difficult People on Hulu. Amy Poehler is September the 16th. And just when you're like, this is already a lot of SNL people. Adam Sandler, September the 9th. Jada Pinkett, I don't know if she's Smith still. No.
You know she is.
Shady bitch, Ronnie. Shady bitch. No, September the 9th. Is it?
September
18th. No, I'm sorry, the 18th. Yes. Sanaa Lathan. I was just watching the movie Brown Sugar the other day. September the 19th. Love that movie. Leah Michelle, whose reputation isn't the greatest, but she is the funny girl now. So
she got some standing ovations, I heard.
Yeah.
Opening night.
Talent, but then maybe behind the scenes, not maybe the best. But hey, she is, reprising or not reprising. What do you call it? Taking on that great Barbara Streisand role. Yeah. August the 29th. Shania Twain just had a new Netflix document, like rock doc, That's she's August 28th, so she's got a lot to actually speak about and quite a colorful career and past and life. Jennifer Coolidge, who's everyone's favorite, August 28th. Richard Gere, who is like the most handsome man ever, like just straight up gorgeous man. August the 31st. Michael Bublé, September the 9th. Ryan Felipe, I don't know how you say that.
Such a hottie still.
Yeah, do you think he's a hottie? I think you would have a chance with him. Is he single?
I don't know if he is, but he's he's like super hot. Love him.
Kelly. Yeah,
he's aging very, very well.
I could say, yeah. Let's just fawn over him. Yeah. Okay. And Billy Eichner from the show that we used to recap, Hulu's Difficult People, and now is going to be starring in Bros. We're very excited about that. On September the 18th, he is 43 years old. So that wraps up some of the Virgos, and Kelly, and it wasn't just about, again, celebrity. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in even my personal life, people, friends, every year I feel like I meet 5 to 6 new people, and like if I enjoy them, I'm like, you're not a Virgo, are you? And sure enough, they are. So I know if you're not a Virgo and you hate on Virgos, you're like, this is such a stupid episode, but it really brought me joy. I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's just how I feel. Kelly, if I can, I just want to give you my chart. So my cousin,
I love all things astrology. Give it to me.
Okay, all things astrology. I always rave about being a Virgo, as I say, and we're celebrating all the Virgos, this episode. But my cousin Sophia, she was so kind to give me my charts, and so this is what we have. For the sun sign is the Virgo, which is my ego. Moon is Leo, which is the emotional self. Rising adjacent is Pisces, personality and appearance. I did not know appearance was on the list, but thank you. Or get it together. Mercury is Virgo also, which conveys thinking and communication, which I thought was really, really a interesting thing to read back. Venus is Cancer, which is love, relationship, and aesthetics. Mm-hmm. And Mars is a Scorpio, which is, get this, passion, drive, and sex. So,
well, Scorpios are some freaks, so I get it.
So that's pretty interesting that's all within my chart, and you can kind of embody a lot of that. And some people think that stuff's silly, but I was so happy my cousin did that, and I was able to kind of hear and see my full potential in astrology.
I love astrology stuff. It's super fun, and I love all that. And keeping in the Virgo spirit, I'm going to give you 15 questions with the Virgo.
Okay, good. So, okay, so this is like a segment. So this is like da 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 da. 15 questions with the Virgo, or for a Virgo. Okay, so I'm said Virgo.
You're the Virgo.
Okay.
So I'm 15.
Hi.
So 15 questions for a Virgo. Number 1, are you practical or impulsive?
Practical. Sorry, I yelled at the microphone. The microphone's like, come down.
Do you like to enjoy nature?
Heavy yes. Heavy yes. Yeah.
Do you
Never has there been
cook at home or eat out?
That's the first tough one you're asking. I think I would say cook at home, because out, though, could be such a fabulous experience. Anyone can always navigate towards this great feeling based on how much you're willing to pay for the restaurant. At the house, that's based on how you convey your house, who you want to bring into your home. It's a little more special. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Now, are you good at balancing that little judgmental side of yours?
Did I say I was judgmental? When did that come up?
I'm saying it. Virgos in general, that's one of the characteristics. They're known to be a little judgy.
When one host says on the sly, you're judgmental. It's happening right this second. What did we do to deserve this? What did we do to deserve this? Okay, do I think I'm judgmental, you're saying?
No, can you balance it? No, we already know you're judgmental.
Okay.
Can you balance it?
Opinionated, I would say, but yeah. Can I balance judgmental? Yeah, I think so. I think yes. Actually, yes. No explanation, but I can do it.
Okay. If you did not need any money, what would you do for work if money was never an issue?
I would probably push forward into something I was chicken shit to do as a kid. Radio and broadcast always was the acceptable thing for me to do, and he didn't really succeed there. But I've had great memories. I feel like I would take, hire some acting coaches, do a little travel, of course, too. But I would hire some acting coaches, and I would want them to just kind of teach me and perfect me at that. And I would want us to use a couple things to draw from. One would be that I do think if you're good at radio and broadcast, as we've done for so many years, I do think there's a little level of acting or performance or theatrics. So I would want them to kind of mesh the worlds of what I feel comfortable with it, which is what we do here, and this other thing that was always too scary for me to try.
Oh, so to be a performer. So
Yeah.
to perform is okay. I like
Yeah.
it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right,
And then
here's
I'd have a on-screen role with Tom Hardy. Yep.
there you go.
Come on.
I need to be an extra in that one.
For a small
All right.
fee. For a small fee.
What was the last lie you told?
It's probably like somebody's telling me like, oh, because my birthday, September 5th. And like, I mean, the whole holiday weekend, you're pretty upbeat, but you're not like always upbeat. Somebody might have texted or said something and was like, oh, how are you doing? And I might have been like, I'm so happy. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm not that happy. There's some bullshit going on around me. But so it was just like, like
white lie, then.
For the sake of, and I generally was happy, but for the sake of it being my birthday, I gave exactly what the answer that they wanted. And I was like, I mean, not that damn happy. We got some shit to deal with. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have a beautiful home in an ordinary suburb or an ordinary home in an extraordinary place?
Okay. What? Can I say none? Wait.
Would you rather have like an extraordinary house in an ordinary town, suburb, neighborhood, or would you rather just have an okay house but in a very extraordinary place?
Oh, sorry, I misheard that.
Mm-hmm.
You know the answer to that. It's gonna be the like, I don't care if it's a slither of a my home, because I will make my home beautiful. But environment and location mean everything. And don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget
so it's
that.
The extraordinary place.
Absolutely.
What is something that you do differently than most people?
I'm very particular about like I want things to look like almost OCD-ish. So you could see this when we do our Instagrams or our TikTok or even our YouTube channel. I like things to look very pretty. I will change words to make it like, if I'm doing the links of our show, I will make sure that it looks like a ladder going down every time. I refuse to have one longer and then one shorter and then one longer. My eyes need it to look beautiful. So I don't know if people do that, but I'm very particular when it comes to that. So I'm the best at it.
All right. What part of your daily routine could you absolutely not function without? If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to function.
Okay, well, I'll say it because there was some logistics in this once. I love to walk, and I don't love to let's go drive here to go for a walk. I don't I take my car to go in circles. I love walking. I love, when I lived in up on 150th, I'd always walk down way past Central Park. I'd walk all the way to 14th Street sometimes. I'd walk up to 207. I was always walking. In Bushwick, same thing. Walk to the waterfront. In LA, sometimes because of your schedule, you can't get out for a walk, and I'm not going to just walk around the neighborhood. And there's also nobody walks here. So I will say walking, while if I don't do it, I get very agitated. And on the flip side, if I'm feeling agitated, a walk is like the most therapeutic thing for me.
Okay. Where were you 10 years ago?
Oh, that's a tough one. Jeez. 10 years ago, I was actually living a lot of what would be so-called my dream. Like 10 years ago, I was coming into living in New York City, which was the thing that mattered to me more than anything. I was like developing this like good friends, good contacts, work contacts, good sex. It was just a lot of really nice things going on. So on some level, I sort of miss that era, but you also gain new skill sets and new aspects in your life as you get older. But I could definitely say that I missed that 10 years ago. Yeah. It's hard to see things slip away like that.
Yeah, totally. How important is it to you to be on time?
It could be. I think it's more important to be insanely communicative about what you're doing, your feelings. I hate passive aggressive energy. So I would take time, like if like you got to weigh out the big picture. Like let's say hypothetically, if Kelly was late to anything that we did, I would weigh the big picture and be like, but she's the baddest bitch I know. She's like amazing. She's
always late.
She's well, maybe we're not saying if. No, she's my big sister. Like she kind of helps me in a lot of things. So I would be like, I'd look at the big picture. I'm like, showing up a little bit late, is it that bad? Like, does it really, like in the grand scheme of things, is it that bad?
Stickler for the minute. There's a little bit of wiggle room as long as it's being communicated to you, so you're not waiting around.
That, and I also am not a really big fan of like the, hey, what are we doing this weekend or whatever? What are we doing? And it like being so corny in the sense that it's being planned out so much. I was on in Redondo Beach, the beach cities. I was on just a little small boat, and we were having wine while the sun was going down the other day. That was not planned. So I'm a little spontaneous. So that's why I don't really hold too tightly with the schedule.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I feel bad for.
That's the reason why we could still be friends, because I am like horrendous with my time.
Well, takes one to know one. We weren't on hiatus. We were just both too busy.
We just couldn't find time. Okay, this is going back to what we were talking about earlier. What part of pop culture today would you wish would just go away?
Oh, just the celebration of but you don't understand, they got 1 million followers versus the person who like has been in the business for a long time, has actually a talent or an act. So that comparative of like, always we are all supposed to fawn over, oh, that's a good rapper, and you're like, well, the music's no good. Oh, it doesn't matter, they have like 1 million followers. Well, who are these bots? Like, they're not real. I would say that's the part that is just a bit aggravating. And when you talk about it, they're like, oh, you're just an old head, you don't know shit about shit. So
well, then in that vein, are you annoyed when other people don't follow the quote unquote rules? So like the rules of how to get where you're going.
I think there's more than one way to get where you're going. I think that even is in relationship. I was talking recently that to a friend, or talking, not talking about her, but I was stating that this particular person, after March of 2020 thing, how the world flipped upside down, and how this particular person would have been living on this coast, but then they ended up living on this coast. And then now they're pregnant and ready to have a baby at any day. So I think I'm like, would this friend of mine, would she have found her king, if she stayed over there? But I think what's meant to be is always going to happen. So you really got to believe in that. Why did I bring that up?
Not so much like the rules.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that
I thought I was going to sneeze a second ago. So sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, a sneeze is not like, no, we don't get.
I don't like cute sneeze. So.
Oh, okay. We don't get lower than
big sneeze. It's not a cute sneeze.
We don't get lower than 5 stars. I mean, no one's even rating on our fabulous show anyway. Go to Apple Podcast. You want to talk about rules? Go to Apple Podcast and do what we say and say we were great. We were amazing. Jeez.
Okay, what is the last thing in your life that actually went according to plan? Anything?
Only because like the nearest thing I could remember is that when I came out of like the last corporate job I did was at through VH1 and another podcast company. They worked together. And when I came out of that, I was like searching to get back into another corporate job, but I ended up going independent, which is what we're doing from the ground up. And I think it went according to plan because at this point, not only do I do what we're doing and we do everything according to plan, which feels really good, but I've got 3 to 4 colleagues of mine, some real close friends, some more just colleagues, and 3 to 4 people who now want me on some level to work on their podcast. So now I'm moving into a space of podcast consultant, podcast producer, based on whatever needs they have. Some are just like what we do. Some are like the full setup. Some are more just like consulting and coaching them. And the reason I say it was according to plan, if I could have had an investor at the beginning, because everything takes time. This microphone costs money. The lights, things cost a lot. I remember saying, I have been out of this for so long, but bitch, if I get into podcasting, like it's over for everybody. Now that will take a long time still, but the part of it where I knew the plan went right is that I knew by doing it, it would acquire me to back into radio, which I've got a couple close calls, nothing yet, but a couple close calls in radio. Now, again, friends wanting me to work on their projects, and I knew the snowball effect would work. That's why, again, I was like, kind of like, does anyone want to invest in me? But no one saw the vision that I saw, and we're barely getting started.
Well, I mean, at least not yet. I mean, we're just getting started, so who knows? But
you don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't even see what's really happening, and like where I'm really,
but
doing.
They will. Like it's coming. It's just.
I mean, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care about validation, but I'm just. The investment would have been nice.
All right. So
hit my Patreon.
Here's the last question. If you had an extra hour in the day, what would you do with it?
It has to go back to the walking, getting sun, being outdoors. You asked if I was
use it as me time.
Yeah, you said if I was like a nature person, it would not be more TV. It would not be more podcasting. It would not be more emailing a contact to hope that I could get a advancement in this part of my career.
You know how different that answer is now than it probably was 10, 15 years ago.
Which is the same reason I think I could live in Manhattan Beach, and I never thought that. Like in terms of New York City, I've lived in Harlem, Bushwick, Ridgewood, and Weehawken, Astoria for a month. And I like know the places that make me happy. In LA, I'm from like the beach cities, well, right below it, like Torrance area, San Pedro, those types of areas. And when I was growing up, those were the places I went to high school and stuff like that. But it was always immediately out to the valley because everything was in Burbank. That's where the TV and that was where the radio was. And I could never see myself not living either out there, or I've lived in like mid-city once and I thought that was great too, or even like the West Side, Santa Monica, Culver City, whatever is affordable. But now I'm kind of feeling like I can live a little closer to like Manhattan Beach, which of course is expensive. But I'm saying before Manhattan Beach is my favorite. I didn't even feel I could live there because I felt like it was so far from all of these great things. But when you break it down, the amount of walking you could do there. They've got the amazing Bruce's Beach right there. You could sit on that lawn. Bruce Beach actually has a very tougher story, but it is a resilient story. And it's just, I'm the type that, I would always be out and about walking. I'm not that guy who has a balcony. I don't have a balcony, but if I have a balcony, who doesn't use it? I'm a very put my robe on, have my cup of coffee, look out into yonder. That is me. Yeah.
No, I definitely miss that about LA because I definitely was a lot more outdoorsy when I was there, just because it was easier to do than it is now.
I don't know if that grounding stuff is for real, but I feel like it is. Like I'm all about that. We talked about astrology a second ago. The thing is, you can't say one thing like, oh, believe in manifestation, but like astrology is bullshit. Like I think as much as you believe, all of it is sort of connecting. But yeah. I hate the way we look at our phones and you got to like bend your neck and all of a sudden your shoulders are hurting. So an hour extra, I'd be unplugged. You wouldn't even know. You'd forget about me.
I know. I need to start falling into that unplug for a little while.
Fucking IG live. No, I'd be like Ronnie live living. You wouldn't even know where I was. Oh, I was in Manhattan Beach just walking by the 90210 beach house like that. Like I want experiences,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's my 15 questions with the Virgo.
15 questions with the Virgo.
15 questions with the Virgo. Thanks for playing.
That was great. Oh my gosh. Goodness. Gush. Oh my gushness. I feel it wasn't a lie that I do feel very happy. This year in particular, sorry, I'm giving my award speech. This year in particular, Kelly, I know that there's a handful of things that are not crossed off the checklist, and those can piss me off, but I refuse to go into those 5 days or 4 days of the holiday and not feel amazing. Like when you look back at it, and then sad as it is, we're of a certain age. We come from working at the radio station back in 2003. Kelly and I have known each other for a very long time. We have all these friends, huge group of friends. Well, not everyone, things happen. Not everyone is still here, you know. And so I woke up at 42 feeling like really happy to be here, knowing my shortcomings still, but kind of being like, oh, we're in pursuit to make it happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love that because, you know, I have to say that for me, being in my 40s is a very reflective time. I'm definitely taking a beat and stepping back and just kind of reevaluating and looking at my life. And I'm going to bring you guys along in it because there's a lot of stuff, and I never really gave myself credit, and I don't think that you really have either, that we've actually done a lot of stuff even though
Mm-hmm.
we feel like we haven't. Like there's a lot
Right.
of big accomplishments, there's a lot to be proud of, and sometimes I forget. And then when somebody asks me and I'm talking about it and I'm just like, oh, you know, I actually have done a lot of stuff for just being in my 40s. And I want to relish in that. I want to look back on that. I want to tell those stories, and there's some great ones and there's some fun ones, and there's, you know, there's all the emotions in between, but I also don't want to forget them. And, you know, getting
It's like a
older, that
journal.
memory starts to go.
It's like
And
a
I drink a lot
journal.
of tequila for a living, so.
I did all that this weekend. No, I really feel like it's a journey of looking at, you know, we were 80s babies. We were having our coming of age moments in the 90s and early 2000s. In the 2000s, all through our 20s and 30s, it was work hard, play hard. And now that we're significantly over 35, we're just happy to be in our 40s, like, you know, knowing, sure, maybe there was other places we'd want to go and excel to at a higher space, but like we're really proud of the stuff. Yeah, I applied for a job recently and I was talking to a colleague, and she's a bit older than me, so she's way more experienced and knows a lot, so I trusted her with so much. And I was like, oh, I applied for this, like, and then I told her what rate I, you know, for desired salary, and it was pretty high for, like, they probably wouldn't like be inclined to choose somebody they don't really know, like I'm not really a name. And then she's like, first of all, you don't know what they're looking for. And yes, they're always going to look for a name, which kind of sucks these days. However, if that name person doesn't work or the contracts don't work or whatever, and they do look at your stuff and they do like you, it would be stupid for you to have a very low, humble salary because you're not telling them, like, I can do the job. By saying, I want this much, you know,
Yeah.
you're saying, if you mess with this and we work together, you're going to get a good program. And that made me feel really good. And she was like breaking it down. She's like, you've done this and you've done this and you've done this and you've done this and you've done this. And I was like, well, if you break it down like that, like, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we forget. So we have to remind ourselves. And also I think it's good energy to put out in the world, especially for young people, and especially, you know, going into those generations and stuff that don't really understand the work that goes into stuff and all this entitlement that I keep seeing around and all of that. You know, yes, everybody needs to get paid for their worth, and everyone should be, you know, all this stuff that's happening around, but also appreciate the opportunities, work hard, showcase what you got. And I think there's a pretty decent split on those that do and those that don't. And, you know, I came from a very small town, and, you know, here in Texas, and started out at a, you know, small radio station, like running the boards overnight and like for the morning show. And I had a Friday and Saturday night show that I was on the air for 6 hours each night. Like, it was insane. Like, who gets that? You know, and I was
Mhm.
like 19 years old. Like, it was, you know, even though it was a small market, I learned so much doing that. And it just kind of, it was my first step into entertainment. And then it just kind of catapulted, and I wound up, you know, working in Los Angeles doing some really interesting and really cool things. But it's appreciating that journey, and really valuing what you learn and the people that you learn from, because I did have some really good mentors. I worked with some really shitty people, but I had some really good mentors too.
Do you think you always have a mentor at a certain age? It's kind of tough
No, you don't.
because
I mean, I don't think so, because
I'm not against it, but as
I
a
think you
younger person,
should, if
yeah.
you have the opportunity to. I think it's an amazing tool that you can't. It's knowledge and a sounding board and things that you could never get from school or anywhere else. If there's someone that's willing to give you that time and take the time to talk you through things and show you stuff, take it, embrace it, pay attention. Because as you get older and as you get better, some people take it as competition and they don't want to give that to you.
And
and then
sometimes
it becomes like, survival of the fittest, and that's sad. So
sometimes you
take
have
it when
to
you get it.
not be afraid to shift into that new position too. Like,
Right.
yes, you should always have a mentor, but you like, I feel like for the longest I was still like looking around like, who's going to help me? Even though I was a very tenacious, dedicated person. And then I was like, I worked one particular job and I work at Complex Media. Not saying anyone thought of me as a mentor, but I was like, oh my God, I'm around the younger generation. Like, I
Yeah.
can't tell them everything about what's happening now, but I could tell them about career longevity. I could tell them about the way a career and the landscape could shift. You think about it, like everyone feels like what's happening now is like the end all be all. This is a career longevity. Things could switch in a moment's notice and you might not be what you used to be, and you're going to have 10 years on you, so you're not the fresh young person anymore. And
Right.
sustaining yourself in this business is a lot. And I remember being like, maybe I'm supposed to start really succeeding now so that I can be a great sounding board or listen or give advice. It's odd because you always feel like that 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old starting
Absolutely.
off, right?
Yeah. No, I still
And
very much feel
we're
that
not
way, but no, but I'm
we're not
glad that I've been able to, give advice. And I'm always one. You have questions, anybody, if anybody wants to, talk something out or work through something, or especially because my experience is so broad. So it's like, if you want to bring something to me and use me as a sounding board, I'm always willing to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never be like, okay, well, this hour is going to cost you. Like, I just don't do that. Maybe to my own detriment, but I just don't. Like I said, I've worked with some highly, highly intelligent people that were always willing to answer questions for me and actually took the time to do that. People that I respect and I was very lucky to know, and I just want to pay that forward always.
Yeah. And just know, at the end of the day, our show is nothing but fun. I have made the arrogant comments. I don't actually feel that, but I'm in a comfortable space with one of my oldest friends that why we have got to give ourselves permission at the things we are good at to play around with that and have fun and say, you know what,
For
I'm pretty
sure.
good at this. Life is not supposed to be every day. You're supposed to always be inexperienced and trying so hard and working 90 hours a week. Like, no, there's a time where you're like, I am pretty effing good, and I could still grow, but I'm still effing great. And I think
But
that's
it's also
a
like,
message.
there's going to be some situations I want to talk about that I didn't act right, that I didn't make the right choice, and I should have done something different. And
On
I
our
want to go through
show,
that.
are
I
we
want
gonna
to go.
go are we gonna
I
go
want
through
to go
your
through that.
20s?
We're going to. We're going to go through my
Now you want a
20s.
good podcast.
We're going to go through my early 30s. We're going to go through it all. We're going to go through a time when I just really wanted to prove that I belonged where I was, and I had a boss that literally stood in the street and accused me of trying to steal her job. And I was just like, what?
And all they could say is, welcome to Hollywood.
Just so much stuff.
Yeah.
In the midst of all the light and funny TikToky stuff.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but that's the thing, is I want from this show and from this platform and from this opportunity, like, there's so much knowledge and experience and just entertainment between the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, if you stick it out with us and really want to get to know, I think you'll find it fun, hopefully.
I think people would be interested in, like, we do a really good job. And, I was looking at somebody who was really successful. And again, based on being a name, and like, they were like kind of sloppy with the way they were putting their show. And, we've had even some errors here throughout this journey. But one thing I will tell you is, even in this particular show I was watching, it was like a very unprepared, and it was like the host was calling the producer to, can you research that, like, right on the spot, which is, it's good. But at the same time, like, you structure and you put together a show, and you don't have, silent moments. Me and Kelly do all that we do, and we do it on our own. We're producing it ourselves. And none
dead
of us
air is like the devil, right?
and none of us, yes. And none of us are scratching our butts all day. We're like, doing 1,000 different things. And then we're like saying, hey, do we got about an hour to talk and an hour to record? Like, it's not easy. So if you are, we'll say it like this, Kelly, if you're a day one with us, just know that, when this grows, like, that's an exciting thing. You were a day one. Granted, right now I feel like sometimes we only have one viewer the whole episode.
But you know what? I will take it, and I appreciate it. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot more topics to cover, a lot more fun stuff to talk about, and just kind of like getting to know everything. And I'm excited for it.
I'm going to give you, while we wrap up, and you could do one too if you want, the OMG moments of how we had how we had a hiatus. So one of them was, of course, I went to New York for about 35 days or whatnot. So that, of course, always makes me feel great, and not much really to report from that other than it was just magic in every way, and it was planting some seeds for some stuff. So great. But another OMG moment is I saw Diana Ross as like an early birthday gift. Yes, 78 years old. And, you know, people have their thoughts on her, whatever. But you're not going to ever make me feel like it is not an ultimate experience to see a 78-year-old Diana Ross on stage doing all the hits, a couple new songs. It was her son Evan's birthday that night as well, and it was the Hollywood Bowl, and I had enough drinks to not feel like forget the show, but enough drinks to be like, hey, no, man, not enough. You know, like it was fantastic. So I just wanted to report that to you as a summer hiatus thing while we've been off our show. That was great for me. Yeah.
I love it. Well, I didn't do anything as exciting at all. My life is so different these days. I mean, I feel like I went balls to the wall for like 20 years that now it's like I'm in chill mode. But, you know, I do have, you know, my own business, and you know, it's a very different career. So I've been so focused on that and just kind of shifting things and just trying to be more present, just present. And that's something that I just hadn't been for all these years. And it's nice.
There's good changes coming. And it's also like realizing, like, I think we talk so much off the show too. Like when I knew Kelly in Los Angeles, she had a certain personality, but that might have been through the stress that she was going through. She's in a much more peaceful space. So I'm excited to see those stories of when I knew you and you were still such a fun person, but knowing what you were going through, like, let's share a lot of that. I think that'll be great to hear because you've evolved in a certain way. Real quick, just as a last reminder, Virgos are the best in terms of astrology. And another really fun reminder, aren't they the best? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Another fun reminder, I was going to tell you, Kelly, 1 second. Well, I was going to tell you real quick. I'll say this first. I have got a variety of podcasts. So if you want to look at Randomly with Ronnie Jr., Pop Culture POV, Let's Shine a Light on It.com, they're all there. Go to the website randomlyrjr.com and you could get directed towards everything. And I have a lot of fun creating all those things. So go support it. If you want to support my Patreon, that's always the economical way to support me. Why not? And also to our sponsor, Viridian Row. So Viridian Row, creativity never goes out of style. No. ViridianRow.com is where you can go, you can shop, and you can order right there from the website. They have a boutique in Texas, and the address and everything is on there as well. Liberty Hill is the name of the city, and such fun, almost like 80s pop culture quote t-shirts, some 90s stuff as well as a variety of creative and artistic things. And you could follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Viridian Row and communicate. But they are our sponsor with Difficult Podcasters. So I had to make that mention. That's it. I hate to say goodbye because we had such a good time, but let's check in again.
Yeah,
we'll be back.
We'll be back. So I look forward to it.
All right. I'll talk to you later.